Good afternoon. This is Mother from Hearts&Minds Development Center. Welcome to Being Whole, Being Me. And of course, today is special because it is Deepavali. So happy Deepavali to everybody. And just as we celebrate and continue to celebrate the Festival of Lights, we have someone who is going to give us more light into what does it mean to um, manage our careers better, right? And who better can you get other than a career doctor? So, in the house today is our very own career doctor. Please put your hands together to welcome Honey. Honey, come on. Hey, Honey.
Hi, Mala. Happy Deepavali. Good to see
Thank you.
you. Muruku,
Thank
muruku,
you. Thank
muruku.
you. Thank you very much. So, you're one of those names I had always tried to remember as Honey. And let me tell you what prompted me, and we've really not met, right? I needed to bring you on this show because I was so tired of hearing why people love you. It's very annoying. It's really annoying because I have the Cheryl Vitas of the world and GD Naidu who says, you know what Honey has done for me, and I'm thinking, hello, I'm talking to you when you're talking about Honey, right? Like, so I got so tired of this Honey. I needed to figure her out. And I hear you've always been such a sweetheart. The last 10, 15 minutes we've been talking, you're a sweetheart. So welcome. Thank you for saying yes to
Thank
us,
you.
Honey.
And and thank you for inviting me. This is such an honor. Thank you.
I was just telling you the objective is very much to bring great Malaysians to this
Oh,
stage. Thank you for being a great Malaysian career doctor. Say
looks
hello.
like we have looks like we have some familiar names, Mala.
Ya, semua lelaki tu yang aku tak faham. Tapi tak apa. Okay, that's that's Gerald. Hi, Gerald. Thanks for joining us despite being on Deepavali leave. Louis, hi, Louis. Great to see you. LinkedIn user, I think that must be GD. He somehow or other doesn't appear in my space well. And Naveen, hi, Naveen. Good to see you. I think I'm meeting you for the first time. Moihan is here. Don't play. And yeah, good to see you, Honey. I'm sure that's GD. GD, if it's you, just say yes. If it's not you, just say something else who you are. All right. So, career doctor. How is the doctor feeling about her career at this moment in life?
I'm living a very, very good time right now, Mala, and it's no longer a job. It's a living. I truly enjoy what I'm doing right now. I do.
You need to say before this you were not enjoying it as much.
I did, but this is more enjoyable. But there were times in my life that I really suck it up and I didn't like it. Seriously.
Okay.
So now it's like a prime time. It's like the time. I like it.
Oh,
It's no longer, a struggle to wake up in the morning.
oh, it makes me dislike you a little bit more, but never mind. It's like, how can that be so, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
Alia is saying, our dearest Alia is here. She said, hello, both important ladies. So ladies need to come in because they say all these nice things about us. So tell me, so first and foremost, right? How did you study to become a career doctor? So do we call you Dr. Honey?
Well, I am not a PhD doctor. I am nowhere near being a medical doctor. It is actually a name coined by George. By the way, George is, for those who doesn't know who George is my life partner, aka friend, aka husband, aka business partner. So we're everything there in that space. So he was the one who coined this so-called brand, the career doctor, taken from this concept of Lucy from the Peanuts Gallery. So Google it up. It's kind of cool and cute. And we figured that we needed a brand for something that I do. And eventually he said, let's try the career doctor, where people come to you for advice, for opinion. And sometimes he said, you might want to dispense some opinion which is unwanted as well. I said, yeah, I tend to do that sometimes.
I like
It just kind of, Yeah, so that's how we start off with the career doctor. We both co-founded Dragonfly Corporate Solutions about 10 years ago. It is actually a management consulting firm. We specialize in career management. That's
Nice.
what we do. Yeah.
So tell me, honey, before I Gigi says good afternoon, a lady who has boosted my life LinkedIn about 5 years ago. My gratitude to her. That's for you, honey. Now, Gigi, I'm holding that against you because you've been publicly saying I'm one of the most important women in your life, and now you gave it to honey. I'm not going to forgive you. Moving on. That's just putting Gigi in that space, right? Tell me, I love the part that you said this is like you are in an amazing space, and you spoke about job and career. So if you had to very quickly tell us what is the difference between a job and a career, right? Because you
Mm,
became a career doctor, not a job doctor,
mm,
right?
mm,
And
mm,
I love the part that you say you give sometimes advice that people don't want to hear, that people don't like, but they need to, right? Yeah. So tell us, well, firstly, how would you differentiate for the listeners or for those who are watching, what is the difference between a job and a career?
okay.
Why career management is important? I mean, you set up business for that, so it must be important.
Yeah, it is. It's. I think it's particularly important to understand the differences between a job and a career. A job is something that you do, right? So a job is something that you do. For example, your mom tells you you have to sweep the floor, so that's a job. You don't make a career out of living from sweeping the floor at home, rather, or although there are sweepers, outside there who actually make it a career. They become better at what they do. But basically, a job is something that you do. You go to the office and do certain things in a certain role. Not necessarily that you like it. So
Mm.
that's one thing for sure. But a career is something that you really enjoy. So that there are a few things here. Okay, a career is something that you enjoy, something that you take time to plan, and something that really fits you in and make you grow in your life. So that's a career. You make a career out of a job. So a job is just something that you do, but a career is something that you grow a job out of. Call it a version 2.0 of a job. So that's what career is all about. And a career is something that you actually plan. So, for example, you plan to be leading a team in 3 years' time. So you actually have started thinking about what you do in that job to grow, and that's already a career. And that's how part of the career management comes into place. So it's
Whoa.
all big jigsaw puzzles
I
together.
can tell you, I don't think I ever thought of it as a career. I only remember, when I got into, so it's
Mm,
a job, but I've always
mm,
had. I'm emotional, firstly, right? So I've always loved all my jobs, fortunately, and I
mm,
must say I've worked with very good people who inspire
mm,
me,
mm,
right?
mm,
But what I really love about what you are also saying is that there's the futuristic thinking, there's goal setting, there's a vision for what you could be to bring your best version out through the role that you have either got
mhm,
into accidentally or acquired.
mhm,
So this, and
mhm,
it can happen consciously or unconsciously. As at
mm,
this point, I'm curious, in your experience as a career coach, right? How much of people who successfully build their careers, either consciously or unconsciously, right? Yeah,
mm, mm, mm.
I think you hear of career planning now a lot, but in the past,
Yeah,
you just follow a precedence of what was done before, right? But if
sure.
you look at people who are successful, how
Yes.
much of career planning and management that happened for them, consciously or
Mm,
unconsciously, by themselves or another
mm,
person,
mm, mm.
how much of that connects back to perhaps their identity, values, and purpose?
Sure. Okay. And this is something that I'm going to. I've already discussed this many many times over. There are people who says that, honey, I've seen some really successful people who don't even plan or don't even know what they're going to do or eat the next day. And I think that's fine as well. Some people are lucky enough to be in that space. Um, However, looking at the many people that I've worked with, there are successful people, but there are more successful people who do things a little bit differently. So there are so many levels of success, right? For example, I've been working with for the past few years now. I've been working with quite a number of C suites, and they don't get there for just being lucky. They don't.
Ah,
Okay. There have been some planning to it,
yeah.
consciously thinking about it. They don't just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, suddenly I've been offered a job as a CEO or some chief of whatever." It really doesn't work that way. Yes, there were occasions like that when somebody, being downsized or being kicked out, or somebody died. Unfortunately, it's just that the vacancy appeared and they were next in line, and they went to that role struggling because they were not ready. People don't wake up one morning and become somebody. It's a transition. It's a slow transition. It takes a little bit of time, but there must be some sort of thinking behind in terms of the growing in the career. So for example, I know one very young CEO that I've coached. This was like a couple of years ago. We're still good friends now. So very, very good. Um, Before he got the offer as this very young CEO, and he's sitting like on billions of dollars in his capacity, he was a senior manager of a company. So, senior manager, CEO, senior manager, CEO. And if you look at his background, he was ready. He was ready for something big. It's just that his previous organization wasn't ready for him. So what do you do? Either you wait for your CEO to leave, or you go look somewhere else. And he knew that he had to look elsewhere because he was ready, and he wanted to make sure that he had all the good ingredients
Mm,
to achieve that role.
mm,
And so it took him about a year, to get the coaching, to get the mentoring, to get some exposure, to make himself at least three-quarter ready for that. And he got it. And the toughest conversation that we had to do together as a coach and a client was to prepare him for a couple of rounds of interviews with with the Bursa folks, because he's a public listed company. So that was tough because it's something which was out of his league, but he did it. So I'm very proud of that. So coming back to your question, uh, the differences between the success of a person to the more successful person are the planning.
the planning.
And
So I'm wondering. So what I'm picking up, and so tell me whether I've listened to you well. From
mm,
all those nice, lovely things that you're saying, what I'm picking
yeah,
up is right. Whether it is intentional or not, whether they had
mm,
planned it or not.
yeah.
Alia says no luck, and I agree with her. But what seems to be a common ingredient is the person was ready, which means that the person grew
Yes. Yeah.
as and that growth can take place for many reasons. Some may not grow because
Mm,
they're thinking of a career, but you
mm,
want to grow as a person, as a manager, as a leader, or
mm,
sometimes just yeah, you just want
mm.
to grow in terms of your
Yep.
contribution. So, right.
Absolutely. Yep.
And when
Yep.
you're growing in contribution, that you without you recognizing sometimes, and what people call luck, you are
Yep.
ready for your next job.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you're not even understanding why is this happening to you, that you're feeling restless. You're feeling restless. And that is the reason why the minute you feel kind of out of sort, out of place, thinking a little bit more and yet feeling frustrated, you need to speak to somebody. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you must speak to Honey. I'll welcome you for that. But there must be a reason why. We're happy because things are working out well
Nice,
in,
nice,
in, in a lot of ways, right? But there
nice.
might be days that, after working for 3 4 years, you are very happy with your work. That's fine. Happy with the boss, happy with the colleagues, happy at the salary, but still there are some unsettling parts in you. There's something that you want to achieve, but you don't. So what is it? And because we're so close to those things, we can't see it. And this
Yeah.
is where when in my coaching conversations, in my conversations with my client, they just like, now I realize that because I want to do more. I
Nah.
wasn't
And
leading
it
a
can
team
be
before.
more.
Yes, and it can be more.
Right,
Of
right,
course, leading a team, doing something that creating better impact, and it's no longer about money alone. Malay, it's no longer about money alone. When we first start off, it's just like the hierarchy of needs, right? Is the what kind of money and how far is it that I have to drive out in the
right,
morning, things
right.
like that. But as you move along, and if you consciously or unconsciously think that, oh, I need to do a little bit more, there are actually names for this, and this is a start of your career
Nice,
planning.
nice. So we know the common thing is that you're growing, and sometimes Cheryl said you might have outgrown your role. How do you know that? You feel a sense of restlessness, right? You don't feel
Mm-hmm.
settled, right? And of course,
Yeah.
in our hearts and mind style, we will say you don't feel whole, you don't feel complete. Part of you is missing. So how do you find the part that is missing that
Mm,
probably is contributed, through your job, through your career, right? You
mm,
feel
mm.
that sense of vacuum or restlessness, or movement.
Absolutely.
So for me, it would be the word I associate is actually fulfillment, right? So you're
Fulfillment.
yeah, you don't feel fulfilled, something missing, you have the money, you have
Mm,
the car, you have
mm.
all of it, but something is not right.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's when you look for a career doctor. And I am told and verified by Cheryl that, Honey is a good person to go to, because she will say things that you need to hear that you may not like, right? And
Mm, mm.
I think that's quite useful, because you don't always want to go to people who say what you want to hear, because you already know it anyway, right? So that's not going to help you grow, because they're telling you, validating what you already know. Fantastic. I'm just going to read a couple of things here.
Sure.
You remember I told you if James Fong comes, did I tell
James.
you? Did I not tell you? So he's saying, "Wow, Malar and Kahani. Hey, why Honey is Kaka? I'm only Malar. Ah? Okay, I'm just feeling younger. Thank you, James. One thing for sure, both of them really book lovers. Oh my God, look at the bookshelf behind. So James, I had told Honey that if you come in, you're going to comment about the background. So I was right. So thank you for doing that, because I'm just reading your comment with Wendy. And of course, Alia, having moved up the corporate ladder, says, "No way, no luck," because she would know what it meant for her to grow in the career, right? And so Cheryl affirms that career management needs to be intentional. And
Mm.
she also said, sometimes you outgrow and you need to look. And she says you must speak to Honey seriously. Nate says, "Thank you for insights. For those who are serial career, they have multiple planning." All right. So serial career, I'm not sure what he means. Do they have multiple planning? Perhaps personally experience her coaching provides great clarity to your purpose in life, says Cheryl. So Cheryl is one of those people who made me dislike you, just to let you know, besides Gigi. She says, "Yes, you got to hear the tough stuff. Stop complaining. Do something about it." All right. So you get kicked. And some nice people like Cheryl who like kicked, go and sing your praise to the rest of the world until Malal gets you on her show. Fantastic. So you see the kind of
Mm.
testimonies that you've actually created, that you kick people. That's Cheryl and Judy singing your praises, Honey. Now, tell me, Honey. So I like all of those things that you've said, which is we
Mm,
need to plan, we need to grow, and you need to listen within to listen to your restlessness and your
mm,
unfulfillment. Now, if you look at how the pandemic has really, I believe, brought about a lot of changes in the way people are looking at their life. So there's one school of thought that says, now suddenly people are thinking, actually, life is not all about my job or my career. So there's one very loud voice there to say, let's
mm,
balance back our life, right?
mm, mm,
Let's
mm,
go back to what's important. It may
mm,
seem like they are saying that career is not important. They might seem, right? On
mm,
the other hand, we are also faced with so much of uncertainty because the job I thought I would have tomorrow, it doesn't exist.
Mm,
We have gone virtual, we've gone online, and the way I work has shifted. I'm whatever I had planned for my career transition may not work anymore.
mhm, mhm.
This was planned. I may have planned my career,
Yep.
pre-pandemic, right?
Sure,
Now after
sure.
the pandemic, it's like, right? I have to wake up now to a new way of working, and I haven't planned
Mhm.
this. So, in terms of career transition post-pandemic, what are the challenges that people are coming to you with?
Well, there are a few things. There are actually gazillion things. I'm going to share a few here. Number one is mindset change. That's a real struggle. When people have always been told that work, by the work, you have to go to the office, and now you can't. You have to be at home, working virtually and all that. That screws up so many people's mind, because now they have to figure out what part of their life is work and what part of their life is home. So it's a very gray area, managing kids, managing husband, managing wife, managing self, and managing bosses, things like that. So that's number one. Number two is to reclaim the me time. So it's a spillover of the first issue, reclaiming the me time. For the past year and some close to 2 years now, many of my corporate clients have called me to run sessions for their employees on how to do this. And the first thing I would ask is that what is your policy about work? So before I go and talk to your people, let me talk to you first about how do you think about all of this. What kind of policy do you have, the kind of thinking that your managers have when your people are working from home, because no point for me to run training, managing work life integration when the bosses still think that, what, I'm going to text one people at 11 o'clock and I expect an immediate response. Come on. So certain things needs to change. So a lot of these corporate clients come to me with that, and a lot of the individual clients come to me with that at the same time. So what do we do? I think at the end of the day, as a person, as an individual, we need to figure out what can we control first. We can control first.
Mm.
And the very first thing that we can control, and these are all about options. These are all about options. Okay, so with a caveat, right? The first thing that we can control is our ability to say no.
Ouch! That's the most difficult thing,
It's difficult.
I
It's
know.
difficult.
Like you're
Right.
asking me to do the difficult things first, honey.
Well, if you can pass through this toughest thing by saying no, the rest of the things will just come so easily. Seriously.
Oh,
Think about it. Mala, think about it. Some bosses, some managers will call you out for a meeting. Okay, I can understand towards the end of the month, closing time and all that. You really don't have time. That's understandable. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm going to wrap up it within the hour. That's fine. But when this becomes BAU, business as usual, then it's no longer an emergency situation. We need
but
to look at things.
honey, I don't get you. If I say no to my boss or my
Mm, mm,
clients, I
mm.
lose my chances of going up in my career. Don't you get that? I mean, I don't get this. Because when I'm talking to people, right, people are saying, I mean, we all know what is the right thing to do, right? Saying
Mm,
no,
mm,
we all know that
mm,
options
mm.
that we,
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah,
right? If I say no
sure.
to certain people, I am messed after that.
Yes, of course. Would I get my increment? My boss
Yeah,
will be upset with me, this and that, this and that,
blacklisted,
right?
cold
Huh.
storage. Come on.
Yes,
Now
co-storage and
I'm
all that.
beginning to doubt whether you're doing this for my good. So tell me, how does saying no help me to
Yes.
manage my career better?
I, Again, this is options and choices. I'll tell you one story of one of my clients. She is the group FC of a of a public listed company. Okay, so it's a construction company. You know how busy people are in construction, and then they can't get busy because of the pandemic and all that. But she was in under a lot of stress. So when she first came to me, we had this conversation, and in terms of status, she's already high up there. She's a group FC, for God's sake. It's a huge company. Money wise, no issue. Okay, so she had assets, husband have assets and things like that. However, as we talk, she was telling me about her family and all that, and she has this young girl. Okay, she has a young girl. She's at that time, how old was she? She's about 4. So this was like 2 years ago. She's about 4, and she said. So she was telling me this thing. She said there was one morning on a Saturday, she just came back. She was working throughout the week, and on Saturday she had to go to the office. She said, and when she came back home, her little girl ran to her and said, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, mommy." And then she said, "I want to tie my hair." And she was like, "Oh, okay, I want to tie my daughter's hair." Instead, she ran to the maid. And that was the moment she said, "I don't want to do this anymore." So it's no longer just about, remember, it's no longer just about the money, it's no longer about the status. When I have conversations with my clients, I want to know what makes them really want to change. What is it? If they want more money, why? And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have more money, better status, things like that. But there must be a reason why. People don't just say, "Oh, because there's more money." Of
Yeah.
course, there's more money, but what is the reason behind this? So as we talk, I also realized that she wants to reclaim some time so that she can tie ribbons on her daughter's hair.
Oh,
You see, but these are all butter trades. There must be trade-off. Everyone has 24 hours a day. No one has 25 hours or 18 hours. So how do we carve out time out of these 24 hours? We cannot be talking about climbing career ladders. It doesn't work that way anymore. Or more money or bigger office. Corner office, there's no corner office anymore. Or leading a bigger team or this and that. No, we must understand the real reason. The real reason. Why do we want more money? So that I can have more time to help other people. There are
mm,
people who are like that. Why do I want my own P&L now? Because I want to make sure that I want to lead a team that I think would fit with my values, for example. So talking about values, we talked a little bit about values, or there's so many reasons. There's so
right.
many.
So what I'm hearing from you, Honey, is that so on the surface we can want many things that seem material or
Mm,
external, but
mm,
what
mm,
is really we need to. So what you help is you help them to connect within their
mm.
identity and their purpose. Finally, right? How do I make a
Absolutely.
difference? Why do
Yeah.
I make this difference? Because it's a trade-off, right? The external things that I
Yes.
want is meeting my internal desires that say something about who I am and
Yep.
how I make a difference, which is my purpose, right? And I
Yes.
may not
Yes.
be able to articulate it to you, but that's what you're helping me with, helping me
Mm,
to understand my
mm,
why, right? Because I know
mm,
listening, to my why at a
mm,
spirit level, but I may
mm,
not find the right words, and I'm looking
mm,
for items on the outside, whether it's a corner office or a better car or a name card,
mm, mm,
whatever
mm.
that is, or
Whatever.
whatever that is, that may
Yes.
seem material for people, but it's telling an inner story
Mm,
that is important for me, and that's where I learn what is important. I learn how to set boundaries, like what Cheryl says, right?
yes. Yes.
Have
Yes.
24 hours now. How do we do that? And with those boundaries, then saying no is not all that
It's
impossible.
It's not impossible anymore because then we have bigger purpose, we have higher purpose. For example, coming back to this client of mine who just wanted to tie ribbons on her daughter's hair. If that is the most important thing that she wants to reclaim, that point of time, say no to her boss is no longer an issue.
Yeah, because if your why is big enough, you
Mm.
then find courage to say
Yes,
and do what you.
yes,
Yeah, so it's just braving, right? And
yep,
braving here is not lack of fear, but courage.
no, yes,
Win over
absolutely.
the fear that would always be there, because the fear
It
is,
will.
it is
Yes,
real.
the fear is real, my dear. The fear is real. There's always a fear of what if I get sick and I can't afford my medical? What if I get sick and nobody likes me? What if I can't afford to bring bread to the table if you're the sole breadwinner? What if this? What if that? Da, 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 you know, and I've heard like gazillion what if all throughout my my work for the past many years. I've heard so many things, and I think this is where being empathetic, you know, understanding how people, or rather, you know, my clients, how my friends look at certain things through certain lenses. That's the most important part. That's the most important part.
Nice.
And we
Nice.
cannot be judgmental because we don't walk their life, you know. They must have some of them grew up in a not very advantageous environment, you know, and now when they have the ability to buy whatever they want, they don't want to lose it again. It is scary. I mean, I've been there myself. I understand the fear, you know, but if we have enough courage, like you said, you know, we will be brave to do what we really want, and that includes, my friend, to say no because the
Right.
reason is big enough.
And if you don't know your reason, contact Honey, because she'll keep you, right?
I won't tell them what it is they need. They will come out on their own, and sometimes we need tough love as well. So we have this agreement before anything starts, that we have to agree that at certain point in the conversation we have to talk about the big pink elephant in the room. So that's the cue. Whenever I see something potentially that I have to speak about because it's really sensitive, you know, it's something hurting, it's difficult, so I'll give them the heads up, you know, so and so, I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. Are you ready? And they go, "Oh, okay. Be gentle with me, please. I'm usually
I can
be,
imagine. So, Honey, what are some elephants that you regularly address?
mm,
And
mm,
what are the common themes for the elephants that you address with people when they come to you
mm,
for career coaching? And so
mm.
that's the first question. And the second question I'm going to ask, I'll remind you if I remember myself, is are these elephants that appear in the room different with gender, with generation?
Oh, interesting.
So let's
Okay,
address the
okay.
elephant first.
Yeah, yeah. Let's address the big pink or blue or stripy elephant first in the room. So the most common one, Mala, is self sabotage. Unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, you talk about, and that will address to the second question at the same time. It really doesn't matter, you know, whether you're female, you're male, or, you know, in between. And I do have clients across the gender, so to speak.
Mm.
It really doesn't matter. It transcends race, nationality, whatever you want to call it. You know, they come in stripes, in polka dots, and whatever. Um, Self sabotage. Self sabotage. Oh yeah, I have the opportunity, but you know what, honey, I can't do it
But
because then you'll see the but. So we have a rule. Anything that comes before the word but, we're going to delete it off. You know how it
Before
is? Before the but. Yeah, I like the job, but. So we're going to knock off the sentences before the but, and we're going to address the one after the but, because that would be the real issue.
right,
You see
right.
what this is going? For example, I'll give you an example. I went for the interview. I got the job. Yay! But my mom says I can't go.
So the elephant in the room is the mom.
The elephant in the room is the mom lah.
I love you. I don't envy anyone who comes for coaching with you. Because we need to handle the mother first before we can handle the career. Because without
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I got this brilliant offer, and I'm hearing this all the time. I've got this brilliant offer. In fact, two offers, but let's hear the but. Okay, either the spouse doesn't like it, either the parents don't like it. It's too far away from my commuting hours of 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So never mind whatever that you've said before the but. It's after the but that is what we're going to talk about. And that's where the elephant needs to come in. And people don't like to have that. You know why? Because we're going to talk about the mom, the dad, the siblings, the husband, their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their cats and dogs. Okay, cats and dogs, I'm okay, because I have to live like but see, but so disregard what I had said before that. You see where this is going. So
so,
self
what you're
sabotage
saying,
is number one
yeah. So your
issue.
self sabotage, when you talk about self sabotage, is very much all the things that is the chain on you, the invisible chains on you that you may not recognize, which is
Mm,
stopping you from braving yourself to give
mm,
yourself the best option in life.
to be a better version.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be the better version. I don't have time. Okay, so that is one issue. But self sabotage is more intense, I would say, if you want to put a word to it, right? For example, they've gone to several interviews. So just backtracking a little bit, there were some clients who came to me and said that, honey, I am coming to you because I've been to so many interviews, but I don't get offer. Okay, so going to so many interviews, that's good, but I don't get many offers, you see. So that is what we're going to focus on, and we're going to have this several rounds of conversation trying to identify the reason why they don't get the job offer. So they say, "Oh, I think I've done really well. I've done this. I've done this." But having said that, as we move along in our conversation, I also realized that in the conversations they have started their self sabotage already.
Honey, can I give you a butt? Can you butt my butt
Can
now?
can can but
Here often. You know,
sure.
honey, I've been for the interview and I know I'm one of the top three candidates, but because I am like the most experienced, I'm going to be the most expensive. And in terms of my age, so yeah, I think my age and experience is going to be against me.
Yeah, that sounds like a self sabotage. All right.
Really, but I'm telling you the truth, because I have the age, I have the experience, and I'm expensive. And I think this is why I'm not going to get my next job.
Sure. So this is where, Mala, we're not going to talk about the interview first. We're not going to talk about the interview first. We're going to talk about the reason why you are going for the interview.
Oh, okay. Because I need
Because,
another job.
yeah, that's not it. There are other things. There are other things. The interview is just the cause and effect of you wanting to do what? Yeah, because remember, we are going back to the bigger cause. Yes. So if the bigger cost is big enough, The rest really doesn't matter.
So the
Age,
age, the experience, you believing that you are expensive, are all self-sabotages, right?
yes, those are self-sabotage. I've had a client who went for, let me see here, was it 68 or 78 interviews?
Wow. Wow.
Yes, I kid you not. And so after the first rounds of conversation with her, she went for an interview, and she went for like three, four interviews after our few rounds of conversation, up to a point where I actually tracked her movement using video just before she went in. All right, from the car park and all that. And that's where I put a note that we have to talk about this, because she has started that motion of self-sabotaging right at the point by saying yes to the interview. She walked out from the car, going into the lift, and said, "Oh, I see some sawang up there. I think I don't like this place. The
Oh,
carpet looks so old. I don't think so." And yet she's there. You see, she hasn't even given that conversation, the interview, an opportunity. You know why? Because she has already vetted herself out.
Honey, tell me, what I'm
Mm,
hearing is amazing, right?
mm,
And I'm in my own head now, right? Excited. So
of
it
course.
seems to me that the self sabotage that you say we are experiencing is the
Mm,
incongruence within us that we've not addressed. We
mhm,
want something, but actually we don't want it, and we have not
mhm,
addressed to bring ourselves together.
mm,
And what you
mm,
seem to be doing is addressing the elephant in the room as to you're holding two opposites. That's going to be you've set up the enemy within who's going to sabotage all the results that you get. Because on
mhm,
one hand, externally, you're going to try hard, which is go for
mm,
the 70, 80 interviews. On the
mm,
other hand, you're going to pull yourself back because actually you don't want to be successful because of what you're holding against you.
mhm, mhm.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. And what I'm
Yes.
hearing is you bringing these two things together and saying, hello, can
Yeah.
you just be one person, decide what you want, what the heck you want in life, why you want to do this, and get to the
Yes.
bottom of this, which is where the discomfort is. But that's where you're bringing the person to being whole.
Absolutely. And it's not that easy, because it also involves a few things:
Mm,
mindset change, narrative.
mm,
And we will pick up all these little nuances when we really sit down with a person, the way they describe themselves. I'm old, I'm two of these, I'm little of that. How they compare themselves, how they perceive themselves, all these little things. It takes a little bit of skills and a little bit of patience, I would say.
And then you know what I think, honey, you're doing? I think into your career, doctor, you need to add the word therapist.
I'm nowhere near. I think I
No,
just want to
you and
help.
I have to have a session about that, okay? Because seriously,
Mm,
and seriously, what you're doing is you're getting people to address issues that they are running away from, which is healing.
yes, there are so many things. For example, with I've had sessions before where they had this fear of talking about salary. There's always a fear about salary because it's so big, right? You don't have money, then you can't buy anything that you want. There were so many moments from this particular client who just refused to talk anything about salary. And we talked, we finally had a conversation about it. So apparently money has always been a big issue in this person's life, you
Mm,
know where this person has seen so many devastating effects on the family. Mom, dad, divorce, latchkey kid, and things like that. So money has become the recurring theme all throughout her life. And so when she had the opportunity to have that, to be offered a role. She just refused to talk about the package, which I think is a crucial point because not many people know how to negotiate their
Mm,
package. Yeah,
mm.
they will leave it. Okay, how much do you want? Oh, I think I need a 20% increase. I said, why 20%? Why not 19%? Why not 21.5%? So why not hell, man, 50%?
Yeah,
Right?
nice.
Why are we doing this to
Because that's the
ourselves?
industry standard. That's what they tell you in interviews.
Sure, and because it is being normalized. It's
Nice.
being normalized. But there are so many ways. There's so many ways to negotiate what your truly worth is. Doing a little
Right.
bit of research, of course, and having a scripted sessions in order to address this. So there are a lot of things
Sure.
that
So
I
honey,
find.
let me just recap. This is about 12:15 now, and I
Oh my God.
I know I told you, right? So I just want to say hello to Safina. Actually, just now, Mr. Gopalan actually said, I think I missed his. He said, interesting topic on an important festival of Deepavali, which is the Festival of Lights. May your program bring light to many homes. Thank you. All the way from India. Thank you very much, Mr. Gopalan. I think I've read Cheryl's one. Safina says she loves the topic. Alia says, Honey always is very clear with her advice. I mean, Alia is very direct and clear, right? And for
Yes,
Alia,
she is.
you are clear with your advice. We know how clear you are, right? And Cheryl says, Honey is a life coach that directs you towards your career. So much of value, you discover who you are in the process. You see, I told you you're a therapist, okay? I think now you need to come for a session with me so that you change your title to plus, you get therapy byproduct. You heal yourself. You become who you are. Because what I'm hearing from you, right, Honey, just now when you said self sabotage, right? So we talk about what are
Yeah.
the challenges, and whether they are generational or
Mm.
whether it's gender based. And the first thing that you beautifully said is let's address the elephant in the room, which is, and the elephant in the room is what is sabotaging you, and that's self
Mm.
sabotage, right? Now,
Mm.
beyond self sabotage, beyond really going into who you really are and reconnecting with the person you are, which is, I think, is fantastic. What are two other factors or two other patterns that you see emerging with people who are struggling with their career shifts?
Mm. Mm. Ecosystem support, I
Okay,
think, which is very, very important. Again, all of these are all external. These are
sure.
all externals, ecosystem support, that's external. Whether you have supportive husband, wife, and things like, whether you have supportive bosses, whether you have supportive organization, these are all external. At the end of the day, you have options. You have options, and of course, it helps a little bit more if you want to do personal SWOT analysis. What's available out there, what are your strengths, what are your gaps, for example, if you plan to be in a certain role, what's important to you, and you want to be in a certain role, and that's okay if you're not seen as the perception of career climbing. You go from one step to another, and it's okay too. I mean, what is meaningful for you? What
Right.
is meaningful for you, right? And ecosystem, and this is my observation. The ecosystem must be equally as supportive. But how do you mean by supportive? That means culling over the negative ones. Culling over the negative ones, and that takes courage as well. You must be brave to cull, and I'm going to use the word cull because you really need to eliminate that, not push, not delete. No, cull, potong. Negative ones. You don't need people who don't grow, who don't want to see you grow. You don't want to do that. Okay, there might be some people who want to challenge you. Challenges is good, but not the negative ones, because challenges can make you grow. It's okay, but not the negative ones whom you just putting
So,
poison into.
would I be right, or would it be fair for me to say the negative ones? Because some people get caught with this beautiful words like, uh,
Mm.
negative feedback. I mean, I can't stand those words, firstly. For me, the test is always this: whether what you're saying sounds nice or not.
Mm,
Doesn't
mm,
matter. But what
mm.
matters is it constructive? Is it
Is it
beneficial?
constructive?
Mm.
Yes,
If
yes,
whatever you
absolutely.
say, even if it sounds nice but it's not constructive, I don't quite care.
No.
Say something nice which is destructive, which I also learned have
Mm-hmm.
how to care
Mm-hmm.
for it, right? Because it's got no value for me. It brings my value down, right? So when I say
Mm-hmm.
people negative, I always think whatever you're saying, right, is it constructing me as a person or is it destructing me as a person? Not
Absolutely.
internally, right? And for me, that's
Yep.
really because if whatever you say, if it's really distracting me, and I know that, then we are not meant to be together, right?
Yes, absolutely. I don't even want to cross path, and that's a little bit of an extreme. I also believe that you can say anything you want, but it's about how you say it. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it, but it's not about what you say. So you can say things constructively because you care, because the space of care needs to come out first, unless you really want to destroy that person. That's another story. But if you really care, I believe that if you really care for the other person, then whatever that comes out from you is enough, is constructive. Then it may not sound as nice, okay, but because we care, we love, it will be better. It will be
Because the
better.
energy of your emotions just comes through to people. Your authenticity just comes through.
Absolutely. If you don't really care, then you ask all the, you know,
You can use the
you,
nicest words. You've just ate a lot of sugar,
uh-huh,
calories,
uh-huh.
destructive to your health anyway.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why I say that the ecosystem is very important as well. Because if you have an ecosystem which are not supportive in your growth, why are you still there?
Sure.
Why do you want them to be with you?
Nice. So, elephant in the room has a lot to do with my self sabotage. I address
Mm,
that, and then I look out for an proper support system around me. Right?
mm,
Do you, because there's also the voice against a support system, and I hear this more with women. Maybe because I mix around more with women. I'm not going to assume men don't have it, right?
mm.
But one of the things that I find women being pushed towards is to be more independent. I mean, come on, I'm a strong woman. Why do I need the support of another woman? After all, another woman is one who sabotages me. So, what's your take on support and being independent? And I'm not sure whether it'd be a fair question to talk about women. And I'm only saying this because only women come to me with these stories. Men don't get me. Men don't talk in the first place. But let's park the men first.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
tell me your thoughts.
Okay, I think that was a fair question, and so I'm going to. My thoughts is this: it's all about narrative. Independent doesn't mean that you are alone. Independent doesn't mean that,
Nice.
what does independent mean? There are so many definition of independent. Independent mean you're becoming one, for example, but one doesn't mean that you're going to stand there on your own. No, it doesn't really work that way. Being independent means that you have choices, that you want to exercise your choices, because there are choices, there are options. If you're not independent, then you're not exercising your choices.
Nice, nice, nice. It doesn't mean that if you ask for support, you're not independent, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you look at, now we're going to talk about gender, right? Because we've got
Mm.
3 minutes to address the men, poor men who may not have been addressed. And Luis Moraes has asked you a question, where's your happy place? Luis, I'm coming back to you, so hang all the best, Watson. Uh, so the thing is this, right? Because a lot of the things that you said, whether it's sabotage or elephant in the room, or addressing questions that you need to address, or drawing boundaries and all of that, seem to be around growth and around self-worth. What am I really worth? Because if I know my worth, I know my contribution. And if I know my contribution, I know how I make a difference, right? And if I know how I make a difference and I'm clear about my identity, then saying no, drawing boundaries, asking for my worth, doesn't become an issue for me, and
Mm,
because I've addressed the self-sabotage, right? What are
absolutely.
some do you see major difference in self-worth
Mm,
between the genders? And
mm,
I and I'm just going to broadly say men and women because we have
sure.
2 minutes to handle this. 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen and this is one thing that I'm still trying to kind of get a good grasp on it, because it's kind of limiting the observation, the experience is still, to me is still quite limited. For example, I'm saying that many women would have that issues, or rather that challenge of asserting themselves into saying, I'm now truly independent, I can now exercise my options, my choices, versus the men thinks that because we're men, then we don't have option as well, so we just have to do. Maybe is
Tell
it
me,
because of
tell me more about that, because I think that's the story of the man that's not heard of, right? We always assume women
yes.
are victims, and I have a lot of nice guy friends, unfortunately, because they are nice, right? I look at them
Yeah.
and they talk to me and I'm thinking like, who are you, right? Because and you said this in one of your posts, and I think it's really good if you can address it, because women are have always had to step up at home,
Mm,
always had
mm,
to, right? But now what
mm,
we're doing is that we're stepping out and stepping out at work, which means that we're
mm,
going through a transition of building confidence, being
mm,
sure,
mm,
because you're trying
mm,
to survive and be
mm.
successful in a world that we have only modeled men.
Unfortunately, however, men do go through all these challenges.
Right,
It's just that in the current context, or in the current environment that we have, especially in Asian world, I have this big issue about addressing the fact that actually men and women have challenges. They're the same, they're one and the
right,
same.
nice.
It's just that the narrative are totally different. They're being told in a different way. When women have to step out into the world that was been once dominated by male, when now during the pandemic, especially when some of the men had been laid off from work, and while we're still working, they have to still be seen as this strong, macho man, man of the house, but now reduced to doing household work. See, it's all about the narrative.
Thank you. Thank you. So we need to have a special session for the men. Men, I hope you hear Honey is on your side, so am I. But now that takes us to, so what is really happening is that when we look at this, let's not look at it as gender issues, but really what is below all of the things, the realities that we are born into, we've lived with, and we are coping with, and the grounds are shifting. And when the
Mm,
grounds shift, you can't have one gender try to step up without the other stepping up too. And stepping up
mm.
means different things to different people, right? And in different
Absolutely.
environments. And we need to bring all of that together for this to work, especially in Korea, right? And with the pandemic,
Absolutely.
right? With the pandemic. Now, sorry, I have to ask you one last question before I go into rapid fire. Who who comes to you for coaching? Who finds coaching uh, useful or easy to approach, right? Is it the men or the women?
Both. Actually, for the past, actually, to be clear, about 60% of my clients are male.
So now we know why they're more successful. Honey has just confirmed it. Women, now you better get on the line with Honey and talk to her if you think you are serious about your career, right, Honey?
Yes, and men are much tougher on themselves. Trust me, they're tough on themselves.
I
Very
know, no,
tough on
that I get it from my friends. That I get it.
themselves.
I get it. So we need to do a bit more awareness for the men as well, because
Absolutely.
their issues are not addressed, but that will be a different session. Now, before
Yes.
I get on to rapid fire, darling, Luis Marias I think he's a friend of yours. He wanted to know, where's your happy place?
Here, 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 with my husband, with my cats.
So, happy place for Honey is husband and cats.
Oh, kids. Okay, I have to be inclusive here, right? I am at my happy space when I'm not working in methods that I don't really have much control over. Other than that, I don't really have much problem. I'm almost always at my happy place. How's
Nice.
that? Yeah, but it's intention. It's intentionally designed that way. So you have, I believe that you have to intentionally create that space. Otherwise, it'll be tough.
Nice. Thank you, Honey. All right. So, Louis, she has answered your question, I hope. And you better put down where is your happy place here, lah, Louis, so that we also know. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into, so Honey, thank you very much. I think we can talk for another hour. I told you 1 hour will pass so
Very
fast.
fast.
Yeah, I told you, right? All right.
Yeah.
So let's very quickly look at something called rapid fire. So these are
Okay.
you have to like try and summarize it in say one sentence, right? So
Okay.
our show is known as being whole and being me, right? So finish
Mm.
the sentence, right? The right career choice can make you whole. Finish the sentence.
The right career can make you whole and fulfilled.
And fulfilled. How?
By being at your happy place.
Nice. If I can be me in my career, what happens?
If I can be me, is that right? If I
Yeah.
can be at my career,
If I can be me, just me, be my authentic self.
okay. If I can be me,
Mm. What happens? So you finish the sentence.
I can retire early.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
and you can retire early and have a
Nice.
fulfillment life,
Nice.
right? Because it doesn't have to be a job anymore.
Brilliant. Brilliant. No more jobs. Okay. So tell me, Honey, one thing people misunderstand about Honey.
That I'm garang.
Oh,
Oh
tak
my
payah eh?
goodness. Just tough love. Just lots of tough love.
Oh, okay. So one thing people misunderstand you is that you are garang and you are actually just practicing tough love.
You better ask all these folks like whether true or not.
What's the most difficult thing that you've experienced in the last 1 year?
Uh, I hmm, hmm, hmm. That I had to stop working for a few months due to medical condition. I had a stroke, Amala, a few months ago, and so that was very tough because it also took me to a space where I didn't want to be. Everything was gloomy and dark and tentative, and I'm feeling different, just different. So it wasn't a space that I wanted to be.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm not supposed to ask this in the rapid fire, but I'm going to ask you as a continuation. Thanks for sharing something so personal and vulnerable, right? But Honey, how did the stroke? Because I can only imagine, right, for people like you and me, our
Mm,
mind is so important.
mm, mm,
And,
absolutely.
and we're talking about, career choices, right? How
Yes.
did, how did whatever difficulty that you had with your stroke, I'm sure you had to learn a couple of things about yourself, right?
Mm.
How did that impact, or how did your self-sabotage voice come in and
Ha.
and impact your career choices? Because you said
Yeah.
you were not working, right?
Yes. Yes.
If you could tell us just that in shortly, because I think we need to call you back to talk about that. But give us like a teaser
Can,
to
sure. Wow.
if you can, because I really think otherwise I'll be hanging after this interview. It's like I needed to know this about Honey.
Sure, sure, sure. Well, like I said, I was in a space where I didn't want to be. It was tough, simply because I think there are so many people that I totally enjoy to be working with. I've got my corporate clients who are just wonderful people. I have my private clients who are just as equally as wonderful. And the fact that I was on medical leave. It was a self-imposed medical leave because self-employed, right? And it was self-imposed medical leave for 5 months. And some doctors told me that I would never recover that fast. They gave me some timeline, about a year, about between 8 to 12 months. But voila. On my fifth month, I started to fill up my calendar again, and I think part of the thing is because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose my faculties, because I saw the changes, the impact that I've been creating. I'm saying this because it's not something that I personally am saying, and that is the self sabotage that I have to manage. I mean, I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm a human being as well. I do have some voices at the back, left and right,
Mm.
and when I had my medical crisis, the first thing I thought was, oh, my clients would never see me the same again. Maybe they might think of me as not being able to deliver my 100%. But that's me self-sabotaging. But that's not true. I was feeling so vulnerable when I had to tell my clients, both corporate and private, that I can't. And they say, honey, how much time do you need? And
Oh,
that was wonderful. And that was wonderful. I then knew that I've done something right before, and all that. Mm.
Honey, thank you so
You're
much
most
for
welcome.
sharing. I think I I'm I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for sharing, because I really think that part is so important for what we are talking about today, tips in managing career,
Mm-hmm.
because we really don't know as much as we can plan
Yep,
how the grounds will move for us.
absolutely.
And
And I
my
took.
biggest takeaway today, honey, is this, right? You've not only helped people ground themselves, reconnect with themselves when you talk about career transition, but you are now showing us when your ground moved and you had a fall, you've shown us how you've recovered and come back stronger and better. And that's exactly, I think, what we all want to learn from me. And for that, I really want to thank you for sharing your life with us beyond what you do. And,
Mm.
Cheryl says much love. When
Thank you so much.
I pray that I can give you a big hug. And
Thank you.
I'm gonna like be greedy and say, I'm gonna call you back to
Ken,
talk about
give me
it.
the time.
Okay, guys, just coming back. You can go for a
Okay.
smoke and come back then.
Thank
Till then, honey,
you.
thank you very much. Stay
Thank
blessed,
you.
stay
Thank you.
wonderful. Happy recovery. Before you leave, anything you want to tell your audience, because you've already inspired us so much, but any last bits that you want to tell?
Stay safe. Stay safe. Seriously, stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Safina. She says, I'm glad I squeezed in some time to come into this session. You're awesome. Hugs. So, a lot of people are waiting to hug you, but before the hugs, let's hear your inspirational story. Thank you for saying yes. Stay well, honey. Keep recuperating so that you have more beautiful narratives that, continue to inspire the world around you. Love
Thank
you
you,
and
Maya.
stay
Love
sweet.
you back. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, honey. All right, that was Honey. So we spoke about career right up to how Honey is so resilient. So guys, happy Deepawali. Thank you very much. Signing off. This is Mother from Hearts and Minds Development Center. I will be seeing you next Friday with another great Malaysian who's going to come and inspires and let us hear what we need to hear. Please remember to connect with Honey if you're looking for a career coach, and of course you will be inspiration will be inevitable. So please stay connected with her. Till I see you next week, continue to stay safe, stay healthy, and look after yourself. Signing off now. This is Malan from Hearts and Minds Development Center. Being whole, being me. See you next week, same time.